All right, welcome to War Media Bears post game for week number 8. The Bears go down 49-29 in Dallas. I am Saul Rodriguez along with Joe Tanksley and Ryan Bukovetsky. How we doing today, guys?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, that was a competitive Bears game, even though it was a tough loss. So it could be worse. We've sat through way worse this year. I was still having flashbacks of Washington a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I've tried so hard to just forget that game. Every time I see a Commanders game, I'm gonna just change the channel every time. I can't do it. I'm not gonna watch another Commanders game. But we'll talk about the good stuff first before we talk about just the fact the way that the Dallas offense came alive. But the Bears late half first half surge was kind of what I was saying before we got on here was if you would have told me that this was the final score, before when it was 0-0, 49-29, I would be like, it makes a little sense. But they did get me a little excited, with them, with the Bears having that late surge. What did you guys think about that and the way Justin Fields played just overall?
Well, I would say that definitely the Justin Fields, was the best player that the Bears have. He is the best player that the Bears have on offense, on the team, pretty much, as we saw today. And I was just thinking to myself, if we just had a real number one receiver, this season could be so much different. I thought the two deep balls that he threw in the first half, those are balls that a number one wide receiver catches. And that those plays are made, the trajectory of the game is so much different then. And you kind of put, Dallas in their heels a little bit. But you know, they were able to, get some things going on the ground like they, have been all season. And they made a game of it. I think Justin Fields is looking, with the last game and this game, he's definitely looking like he's, taking a step forward. In the second half, he was getting pressure. He threw the ball away. That's a positive. you know, and so and I know a lot of people, make a lot of how much he holds the ball, but you got to understand he's the only weapon on offense. He's holding on to the ball so he can make a play, and so you got to kind of now you got to get some help around him. Ryan Poles said last week in the press conference, you want to see flashes with young guys. We've all seen the flashes. It's incumbent upon them to get him some weapons now.
Yeah, Joe, I agree with a lot that you said. Like, part of my takeaway, overall, way too many turnovers. Like, you can't give up the ball like they did. But outside of that, I thought the offense executed more than not executed, which was really
Mm-hmm.
encouraging overall. And just like you, I thought there was quite a few plays where you had some talent around Justin Fields. This game would be totally different. Velus
Mm-hmm.
Jones with a huge drop. I agree with you with that Echo Minia St. Brown, where maybe he underthrew it a little bit, but that was so that the receiver could come back and be the only one to get the football type thing. They ran the ball especially well. Again, that's really exciting to see. But overall, I thought the pass blocking was a little bit better.
It
Just
has. It
overall,
was. It
everything
was.
has just been a little bit better with the Bears offense. But overall, I feel like Justin Fields took a step forward in these last few weeks, like you mentioned, Joe. Uh, it's hard for me to not see the Bears really wanting to invest in him and his future, at least to this point right now. Seeing the progression, seeing the type of plays he can make, and yes, maybe he's holding on to the ball still too much, but I'm with you. Besides wanting to make a play, if you had a little bit more around him, guys with that suddenness ability to get open immediately, I think that would be different as well. So a lot of positives to take from this game. Clearly, they're a step behind Dallas when you come to overall roster talent, but the competitiveness, the physicality was there. There was a lot of
Definitely.
execution.
Definitely.
So you look at this game as I think Adam Amin said it perfectly. Like, you're just going to have some of these games while you're rebuilding. And if anything, it's more of a positive, even though there was a lot to look back and say, man, they got to tighten that up real quick.
Yeah, and you mentioned the physicality. You looked in the second half. You know, the Dallas Cowboys kind of paced the Bears, but that defense was getting winded, and they were leaving the field with cramps and everything. They were getting beat up. They were
Mm-hmm.
getting beat up. They were beat up. Bears beat them up. What I'm saying? It's just unfortunate that the Bears had that, that lapse on defense. They had an emotional loss. No, like he died, but he just got traded. But but they traded Robert Quinn, and you saw how emotional the defense was, the team was, after seeing them leave, and so maybe that kind of had something to do with how I mean it was piss poor how bad they played. But at the same time, this has to let everybody know this is a business. You all are professionals. You got to go out there and earn the paycheck still, and they definitely did not do that today.
No, they didn't. And I thought the loss of Robert Quinn, like you said, it hurt, especially short week. They gave them the extra day off, a bunch of young guys, a defense that's still clearly like learning the principles and the scheme. They I guess kind of took a step back, but it was sort of similar MO where they were better in the second half than they were in the first half. So for whatever reason, they can't seem to start fast enough, at least for the majority of this season. And overall, I just think that I thought the game planning and the coaching was pretty good for the most part. There was a few like that wildcat on third down with David Montgomery. I hated that play type thing, but for the most part, I thought Luke Getsy called a pretty solid game. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you can take away from this and say, if we had a CeeDee Lamb or a Dalton Schultz,
scored 29 points.
Right. These guys that can just get open kind of at will in the middle of the field and downfield, they just don't have enough of those guys. They don't have enough of the Micah Parsons, the game changer types. And clearly, just like last year, you need that second corner across from Jalen Johnson, especially when Kyler Gordon kicks in at nickel.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and you look at the way, both of these offenses just erupted for yardage. I mean, the defense, you could say there wasn't a lot of defense, but I mean, just the Bears, obviously, like, as Joe said, piss poor, in general. But you look at what you guys were talking about, Justin Fields, and the fact that, yeah, he has shown way more of an improvement in all facets of the game, especially in the running game. I thought that was one of the more positive things that I saw, is just the fact that he's continuing to do it, and just, making plays when he has to, and being a little more smart, as Joe said as well, of throwing the ball away. There was a couple when I was like, oh, thank God he threw it away there. If he does that more often, that would help the Bears a lot. He's got 60 rushing yards at least in the last 3 games. So, but shifting over to the other team's offense, what did you guys think about the Dallas offense? Because look, they were a bottom half offense, bottom 5 offense. Even without Dak and him coming back, it seems like he's lit up a fire a little bit more, whether it just be the running game or whether it be, Pollard's looking great. He's looked great all season despite this game. But what did you guys think? I mean, they were like 9 for 11, I think, on third down conversions. So they were just running amok in general.
Dak Prescott, he's a very capable quarterback. To me, he's like the Black Kirk Cousins. I mean, no, seriously though.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's capable of carving you up if you let him, and that's what he did.
Yeah, I didn't think that they were impressive, but not like overly impressive for some reason. Maybe it's just the cynicism.
They were playing the Bears.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Against the Bears, when you get off to that kind of start, I can't believe they didn't bury him type thing. In a way, it's almost like a diss against Dallas. Like, how many times have we seen the tents folded up from the Bears in that kind of situation at the end of the first quarter type thing? You're thinking, man, am I going to have to switch this by halftime just to watch something else to refresh my palate?
And here's the thing. The only reason the Bears made this competitive is because Mike McCarthy is their coach. And that's the only reason this game was so close. If the Bears had talent, they definitely would have beat the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, definitely.
And, and that's a point towards Dak Prescott. We have had a ton of conversation around Justin Fields and how he's playing and how he needs to develop. I thought Justin Fields wasn't outplayed by Dak Prescott by a ton. I mean, he's definitely a more capable passer than Justin Fields is right now, undoubtedly. Yeah. But it wasn't like night and day difference, especially when you account for the weapons, the offensive line that Dak has. Give Justin Fields some of that. I think it looks a lot more competitive tonight.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, now kind of, looking ahead a little bit and what our expectations are is a lot of people thought, hey, you win this game, who knows what happens, I mean, like I said before we got on, I was like, I didn't expect them to win this game, but it would have been a great, more like a little bit more of a confidence boost as it was last Monday's Monday night win against the Patriots. But looking ahead, we got a home game against the Dolphins. What do you guys expect the Bears to do against the Dolphins in that game?
I expected to go pretty much the same way as this
Mm.
this game. Um, and there's definitely a lot of holes on the defense, especially in stopping the run. And teams have been able to take advantage of that. And the Bears have not managed to get themselves off the field, on third down. And it definitely looks like Brisker has taken a step forward. Kyler Gordon, early in the season, he struggled a bit, but he's even taken a step forward. And now the guy that they're picking on is Vildor again. And so they definitely picked on. They made it a point to pick on Vildor in the first half. The Cowboys did, and also, they targeted, the Bears defensive line in the run game. And so I think we're going to see more of that. I think with the weapons that the Dolphins have with Hill and Waddle, and and Tua, as much in a similar situation that Justin Fields is now. Last year, but they went ahead and got him some weapons, and you see how that team is taking off. And so this is kind of like what it could be, if the Bears invest, in Justin Fields in that offense, I think we're kind of going to see that with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think for at least right now, the big key is what that Bears defense is going to do against some of these opponents, because I think you got a run game you can count on. This offense is
Mm-hmm.
going to be only somewhat explosive. You can only do so much with scheme and play calling and some of the talent that they have currently. I thought it was very encouraging to see them score about 30 points. And God forbid, if they ever get a good 2-point play conversion, maybe they could have gone way over 30. But
Mm-hmm.
they definitely have a pace and a tempo and an identity right now offensively. It's just not very explosive. So this defense has to complement it. The special teams has to complement it. And they've got to be able to get more stops, get off the field on third down. So I
Mm-hmm.
really think in terms of just future opponents right now, if this run game continues and we see the slight continual progression of that passing game, it's just what can you do for me defense? How many turnovers can you get? How many stops can you get where this game can be close, and then our time of possession with running the football really starts mattering? Maybe when it's really close and you are overcommitting to the run, that play action is even that much more deadly, and you're not necessarily backpedaling because you're up 20 points type thing. So there's a lot I think that they can press on teams, but it's got to come down to that defense getting stops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think they also said on the telecast too, when it comes to this Bears team, when you play them in December, that it doesn't matter how good you are, you're gonna have to come ready to play. And it's true, because I think it's kind of like, they're a little bit of a pesky team, and they're obviously on the rise, and getting having some confidence boosts over the last couple of weeks. So, and one more thing before we go, since the deadline's coming up on November 1st. I wanted to see, obviously at this point, it's looking more like we're going to be selling a lot more if we do any more trades. But what do you guys expect to see before that deadline, if anything?
You know what? I don't know. I was kind of angry with Roquan just getting ran over for that. Was it the second touchdown by Tony Pollard? And I was angry. I was angry. I was like, man, they could trade his crybaby self too. But you know what? I really don't know where the Bears could go as far as selling their assets. They really don't have much besides Roquan. So
Yeah, I could see them maybe pulling off like a Nikhil Harry type deal for somebody, like a seventh rounder on a flyer type thing, but I don't expect them really to trade anybody away per se. I mean, maybe does somebody want Riley Reef? Is anybody out there desperate for a tackle that's a veteran? Maybe you can get something for that. I don't know, but I don't expect them really to do much at all at the deadline. The big thing would have been Robert Quick, and
Mhm.
they took care of that.
yep.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be all the time we have for today for War Media Bears post game. I am Saul Rodriguez, along with Joe Tanksley and Ryan Bukovetsky. Hope everyone enjoyed the game, and hope everyone has a great Halloween.
Thank you. Peace.
See y'all later.